What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Back Road Driver channel. I know a lot of you guys have been missing this truck right here. So have I. Today we're going to go through everything it's been through. You know, this thing's supercharged. It's had a few motors go out. It's had a new transmission. But I did run a mid 10-second pass in it lately, and we're going to show you that too. So yeah, we got a new motor in this bad boy. Our friends over at 865 Diesel put it in for us. I found it online, so I bought a used motor with 4,000 miles on it. But I got it way cheaper than buying a long block. We didn't have to do a lot of work because we bought a complete engine. We did have to swap over the Whipple again, but as you can see, everything's back in place just like it should be. Runs fine. Let's go look at that motor that did blow. So we've already put out about 3 videos detailing the blown motor. We do have some new information. I thought I'd blown cylinder 8, but as we started tearing into some things, I blew cylinder 1 as well. Here's the good old oil pump that you guys have seen in some other pictures and other videos. You can see where the rod was hitting here. It kind of blew it out here. Check out the oil pan.
What is that?
This is random parts of pistons and motor casting. Yeah, this is just what we kind of threw in here as we were going. So I mean, there's part of the cylinder wall. I mean, there's junk everywhere. If you hadn't already seen those videos, here's the big hole in the motor. This would be cylinder 8. We didn't blow through the casting in the front, but when I pulled the oil pan and when I pulled off the oil pump, it was obvious that cylinder 1 had come unstowed as well. The Kevlar belts on these oil pumps that we've all been wondering about. Now this is a blown motor with damage to the oil pump. When I took this apart, the Kevlar belt was still intact, looked brand new, hadn't torn or anything. You know, when I blew the motor, it was obviously revving very high. We had catastrophic damage, but it looks like these oil pump belts are gonna be fine. So to sum up the motor situation, basically I have the 3rd motor in this truck. The first one was an issue with the Whipple supercharger, and Whipple took care of that for me. The 2nd motor, that's on me. We were being tuned. I was working on a 3.5 pulley tune on E85 with Livernois, and she popped going to the grocery store of all things. So now we've got this one in. We've got a new tuner. We'll get to that in a second. I'm gonna get this bad boy up in the air and let's talk about transmission number 2. So right after we got the motor working, the current motor, started noticing major issues with the transmission. We were slipping really bad. Some gears were changing and just slamming into the next gear. Downshifts coming up to a stoplight or a stop sign were very rough a lot of times. Some of those problems are kind of 10R80 problems, but once they reach that point of no return, they get really, really bad. With a lot of power, you're gonna have that sometimes. So at that point, we pulled this transmission. We went up to see Scott Richardson up in Pennsylvania, and he took care of us. So he rebuilds these. He puts new clutch packs and steels in. He adds a couple in certain drums, and also this transmission has an upgraded CDF drum, or the revised version. According to Scott, Ford really doesn't have that perfect either. There's still a couple failures or a weak point in there. But anyway, we've got a new transmission in here, and this one's supposed to hold all the power. It's the same transmission that's in Brad's truck, and of course you know the abuse we've done there, and it's held up, so we're looking good. If you guys are interested in getting your transmission built, because I know a lot of you guys have the dreaded 10R80 problems, Scott is the man. We'll put a link on how to reach Scott down in the description, so if you guys want a built transmission, he's the guy to talk to. So now that we've covered the new motors and the transmission, let's talk about exhaust. So once you go long tube headers with no cats, you have a bad problem with these F150s of getting the tone right, making it not sound like a freaking race car going down the road. And that's not what I wanted with this truck. So to fix this, I found this Borla XR1 muffler, which this model is the 400-115. It's a little pricey, but it does what you need it to do. The packing on the inside is stainless steel instead of fiberglass, so it's not going to wear out like those packings do. So you don't install a muffler, think you're good to go, and then a month down the road, you've blown all the packing back or burn it up, and you're back at square one. So I also threw on a little Black Widow bullet muffler back here. That seemed to help add the tone back, give it a little thump. But yeah, I mean, this is completely chopped up 2M headers and Y pipe to a custom Borla muffler to a Black Widow bullet and out the back now. To get to this point, I went through a few different mufflers, guys. I tried everything. I have had all of these mufflers in different configurations on the truck at some point in time, and I even tried to do a quarter wave resonator at one time. So I have tried it all. If you want your truck to sound pretty normal but have a Y pipe and no cats, get that Borla muffler. Okay, so we got the motor working, we got the trans working, we got it sounding good, but does it run good? No, it did not. I was tuned by Livernois. There's a lot of reasons for that. Basically, that's the only tune you could get for the first year, and I wanted to get my truck tuned. And it was a good experience for the most part. They do a good job there in general, but I had some issues. Number one, my motor was blown, and I didn't know exactly why it blew. It's not like I was hammering on it or doing anything ill-advised, but these motors do blow from time to time, and mine did. I was tired of having to come in here and unplug the PCM and all this to flash it every time. Because of the way I use this truck, I do use it for towing, I do use it for YouTube, I do like to drive it fast from time to time, so I was switching tunes in between E85 and 93 quite often. This is a problem, and this is a problem with the SCT, XCTs and the Bully Dogs, whatever they're selling. Those tunes as well, you're gonna have to get under your hood, undo all this, plug it back in. I had went through one of the connectors from Livernois, went bad on me, and I was stuck, not able to go camping for 3 or 4 days till, you know, they shipped me another one. I was sitting in my truck with 93, but an E85 tune on it, and I couldn't drive it anywhere. So if you don't want those problems, I suggest going with HP tuners and a tuner of your choice. Our recommendation at this point in time is use HP tuners as the device, and Oz Tuning has been great to us. You know that the Wolf's tuned by him. It's one of the fastest out there. He is on it. He takes care of you, and there were a lot of problems with this truck's tuning. Like I had said, Ken took care of those for us. So my truck was dying at red lights and stop signs, and I know a lot of you guys with blowers and injectors and some of those components on your trucks are starting to see more and more of those trucks where you're pulling up to a red light and it feels like the motor quits on you for a second and it dies, and then you gotta wait for your shift handle to come up. I know you column shifter guys are different, but you got to get your car started again at the red light, and it's embarrassing and annoying. So that's not something you want. Started tuning the truck. I let him know that I was having those issues. He said, hold on, let's get that fixed before we move ahead. So we ran a few tests, had me do some data logs. We got on the right path with that, and he can fix that for you guys if you're having those issues. Being an HP tuner's tune, you can use a laptop. Some vehicles use the TDN service, which is an app on your phone. It's just way easier to use than having to come under here and deal with all these connectors every time you want to swap your tune. Just get HP tuners. So over here in my parts graveyard, I've got a lot of different things we've worked on over time: injectors, O2 sensors, belts, spark plugs, random stuff that we bought 3 or 4 times because that's just how we roll around here. Ken's basically got me set up with 3 different tunes. So I've got a towing tune, which is going to be a little down on power, a little longer on your shifts, better for towing, and that's going to be on 93 with your regular 3875 pulley. And then I've got my 93 performance tune, which steps things up quite a bit. It's very fast on 93, kind of where I want to be. It's not over the top and about to blow, but that's going to be with the same pulley and belt as my towing tune. So if I want to go up in the woods with a camper, all I've got to do is switch my tune and I'm good to go. If I want to have it in 93, have a little bit more performance, all I've got to do is switch that tune. But now if I want to switch over to E85 and be able to use those injectors and everything that I bought, got to step it up to a 3.5 pulley, and you're also going to grab a different belt. I think your part numbers are going to be 60905. Now this is a green belt. Some of you guys say that's not what you want. They're a little harder. I've also got your regular micro V, but it's going to be that 6095 part number by Gates. But all you got to do is swap out your belt and pulley and the tune, and you can have some real performance. Now let's show you those numbers. All right, so I'm going camping pretty soon. It is summer, guys, so I'm not switching over to the 85 at the moment to show you just how fast this thing is, but I do have a draggy time. So here's what I got. So I ran a 1085 in the quarter. I ran a 702 in the eighth, just over 3 seconds. I've got to get in those twos. But guys, this is one of my first attempts at getting down into the 10s. I didn't really try that hard. I wanted to get back ready to go camping. So this isn't my max effort. This was on the street, on pavement, and I only tried it twice. So there's much more in this motor. Ken has done an awesome job dialing this thing in. The shifts are super crisp. This thing will chirp most gears now. Like, I can be doing 70 miles an hour, floor it, and when the gear changes again, we're talking going down the interstate. That's amazing with 33-inch tires, a leveling kit on this thing. It's a man's truck, and it drives like a freaking race car.
Next up on the channel, guys, we're gonna do a full review of the Hammer, every mod that's been done on this truck, how it feels out on the road, all the stats, all the specs. If that video's out, it's gonna be right here in the end card right now or down in the description. Guys, watch a couple more videos on the channel. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.